Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. How you doing there, Vulcan? Good to have you, my man. Yes, we'll get started. It's an early one. Need to wake the voice up. How is the swimming, by the way? How was that swimming, by the way, Vulcan? God, I couldn't speak there for a second. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's never fun. I mean, that's a good reason to have more ships than you actually need in such task forces. The reason being that, like, they can actually... if they're sunk at sea, at least then you can try and rescue some of the men. Well, usually anyway. Sea snake. Ooh. That's no good, but... okay, we'll go ahead and we'll see what the turn looks like today. Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so... it's interesting, actually. We do see that there's a large concentration of Chinese forces north of Hankow. Now, we are in ×2 terrain. He has about 2,000... well, he has roughly twice the amount of AV that we did last turn. We will have another 200 AV arrive there this turn. I'm going to go ahead and use light bombers and the Key 21 2A sallies in Hankow. Ideally, they can actually bloody fly. To go ahead and bomb them this turn, and ideally try and reduce their AV, try and cause some disruption, fatigue, etc. If they're... I don't know, there's a possibility he does attack. He doesn't usually, but he may very well attack. I'm not too sure what his supply situation could be like. I can't imagine it being great. But we'll have to wait and see, really. How you doing there, Layman? Good to have you, my friend. Now, we will be prepared. Oh, so he's going to bombard Talagi again. Okay. I have loaded the right turn, haven't I? I don't know about the pull. A little bit worried that I've loaded the wrong turn by mistake here, but we'll see. Oh, right, no, this is a different turn, yeah. So we have more damage here, which is a shame. Yeah. That's interesting that they've been able to rearm. It looks like you might have an AKE somewhere nearby then. Right, to see the America Maru here. Yeah, I mean, the issue is mines are... they're useful, but they're not the be-all, end-all. Well, we're going to be moving down south. That's the idea. We may very well pull the H6K back from Tulagi. But in fairness, there's not too much we can do right now unless we have carriers on station. And they're going to be used for the wake operation. What we'll do then is we'll build up shorelands. We're just going to push our way south. Extend the air envelope further south. But in fairness, it's not really doing that much in the way of damage, is it? Of course, it is doing some damage. It's just not doing that much. Okay, moving into the air operations I am. Right. He is fairly active in the Bay of Bengal. He does move quite a lot of shipping there, routinely. It does make me wonder if he's looking to try and figure out the range to which we'll attack. But we do vary it, and in fairness, it has been forcibly varied today due to the fact we don't have a supply there to use drop tanks to the key flight fleet at the moment. But it might be worthwhile going for like 17 hex range on the G4M1s, if we can get away with it. If we can drive all possible cap away in Burma, we'd probably be alright. But we'd probably have to set an arc for something like that. I mean, 17 is so... it's ridiculously long range. I mean, I could carry that game on, but in fairness, I don't have an infinite amount of time. That's the thing. Okay, hitting these guys once again. I appreciate that evoking. But I mean, this is it. It's like, when people play their first game, they do tend to learn and then restart with a new one. Yeah, the G3M3 is actually really quite nice. It has, what's its range? It's quite remarkable, isn't it? Was it in the 20s at normal, isn't it? Is it normal? Is it the normal range is 21? I can't remember exactly what their normal range is. Yeah, it's crazy good. Right, so we do see some SB3 once again here. So just have a couple of key 43s here. Yeah, 21 hex is incredible, isn't it? Just the one here. So he's going to get through, but it looks like he's going to be bombing here to try and slow down any movement, but I don't recall there being much here moving. Well, he might be looking for reconnaissance in fairness. We do have the 26th Division, which is being loaded up to head down here to Wuchang. Okay. Now, ideally, we do have the bombers actually hit north there. Well, what I'm saying is I don't know. Well, I mean, I could continue that game. It's one of these, though. I've got university starting soon enough. I don't want to be, like, spending a lot of time on something that isn't frankly worthwhile. Nothing against THG, of course, there. It's just, obviously, it's the first game. Not everybody carries on their first game forever. It is intriguing regarding the light cruisers there. I believe I saw one light cruiser that was of the same name, which is interesting. Well, let's hope the I-157 does not share the fate of I-124 here. Yeah, that British ASW is impressive. So the amount of depth charge launches, it is quite nasty. We went in deep water here, so unless the submarine dives, yeah. I mean, they're taking damage now. It's just got to avoid the critical damage. It may be that we can't operate as effectively against the Royal Navy. It would be nice if we had a repair shipyard at Rangoon. That would make it easier for us to operate, because at least I could repair that damage. I believe I do have a AS on the way over here to Rangoon, or at least I will be sending an AS out here to Rangoon. Yeah, and it is really good. Issue is you're not often able to actually attack either, because they're attacking you. So it does make me wonder if he does have reconnaissance over us here. He might be using float planes to potentially detect the submarines. It may be very well for the best to pull out for the time being lead aircraft to do that. We'll see. Control room flooding, yeah. That's a bloody big barrage. Yep, she's dead. Jesus Christ. I think she took some critical damage there. She hasn't been sunk as of yet, but I don't think she was doing well there. So it seems that we can't really operate against the actual... I don't think it's the old turn. So it was I-124, wasn't it? That was a different sub there. No, this is a new turn. It just looks scarily similar. I know. It just looks scarily similar, I know, right? Yes, we're landing over here to Cotabato. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to operate there. That might be something he's doing there. He might have just collected all the British DDs. Seems really... what maybe going on there. So we are attacking with the 6th Division and the 17th Division. I mean, these cores are essentially broken already. I mean, they're in ×3, but I don't think that's going to matter with that sort of AV there. 71 odds there, 665 to 91. Still, I'm impressed that they have 91 even. Right, so they're retreating towards this little dot base over here. But they head up that way anyway. Interesting that they're not retreated to Changsha. Okay. Yeah, 105 squads destroyed. attacking these SOBs once again. It's a shame we didn't see the bombers fly north of Hankow today, which is a bit of a problem. Right, we are attacking over here. The idea is just to try and drive them off the road. They are cut off from supply now. So I don't know if they will retreat today. 122. Yeah, so they won't retreat today. Okay. So he's not showing as having low supply. But I mean, you take a look at that. We've got like one detachment of a division attacking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Chinese corps there. Red Chinese army. That's impressive. Yeah, so they've got a grand total of 134 assault value. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Right, so it looks like we have a good chance of taking Mandalay today. 8 AV at the actual base of Mandalay is looking pretty encouraging. 43 to 6. Yep, we take Mandalay today. Excellent. Now, oh.
Saying hello to all of her dog faces and boneheads wandering the Pacific Islands. Before we start the music, the Japanese High Command announced today that the ever-victorious forces of the Japanese Empire have captured Mandalay.
You know, I'd love to know how they went about and actually recorded these. I'd really love to do to ask questions there. Oh shit! Oh shit! Well, he just lost 8. He just lost 8 H-81s there. Okay, wow. Well, now that's worth celebrating there. That's 8 flying tigers there. Yeah, that is. I'm surprised he left them there. Did he think that we wouldn't attack? I'm not too sure. That's. Yeah, I mean, it would have hurt even more if we would have been able to take him out with the paratroopers a few days ago. But, well. I'm not too sure why he didn't pull them out. Maybe he thought we weren't going to attack, or... I'm not too sure. He knows that we are using the TIE forces in that area. So a fairly quiet turn. We do not witness an attack north of Hankow today, which is nice. Possibly so. Possibly so. He kept fighters at Magway for a time. I think he's only just pulled them out yesterday, actually. So a very quiet turn, actually. A turn that was almost ominously similar to the one before it, which is rather amusing. But nonetheless, good. I feel like I've woken up a little bit now, because I did start the turn, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the same turn? So it did feel eerily similar. Is that an oil base in Burma? I don't believe so. Oh, I've got a bloody garrison that, have I? Oh, for God's sakes. I hate those bloody bases. Yeah, Mandalay. God, I've got a garrison Mandalay. Well, at least I've got a garrison there, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. So we do have resources which we have captured intact, which is nice. There's a nice airfield. I love the fact that it says port damage, as if there's a port. Yeah. So there we go, we have the base there. I'm very much surprised he did leave those H-81s there. So we have I-157, that's I-122 there. No, it seems like it might be a case of, right, okay, yeah, they are crippled. And that is rather annoying. That may be what he's trying to do there, perhaps, and it's bloody well effective. The British ESW is remarkably good. We may very well have to obviously react to that. Obviously, they're going to have to head for port. I mean, they would have to head to Singapore there. I could get an AS to Rangoon before that time, I'd imagine. We'll have you make for Rangoon. It's rather annoying. Yeah, we'll head for Rangoon there. At least that's actually safe. I'm going to have an AS moved up to Rangoon anyway, as it seems we are bloody well going to need it. He's having a lot of success here. We've never seen this sort of success against our submarines in such a way. And this is it. It's ocean deep. There's really nothing else we can do against that. It may very well be that we just have to extend, obviously, the aircraft patrols out once again. But we will be able to do that as we do have a supply in place now, which is good. The major damage... Ooh, I'm not too sure actually. I can't remember if there's a limit to the major damage that can be repaired with an AS. I believe they can repair major damage. I can't remember if there's a limit on it. But we're going to have it moved to Rangoon for the short term. I do have an AS over here at Palembang that I'd like to get shifted up. Yeah, the issue with Rangoon is it doesn't have a repair shipyard. If it had a repair shipyard, it would be fantastic for us. It's great for us, don't get me wrong, it's still great. But until I can get some auxiliary repairs, it's not going to be as good as the other bases. Just simply because we can't repair that sort of damage. Okay. I do have another supply shipment moving in, with some fuel as well. I just wanted to get it here sooner rather than later. It's good to see that the 2,000 influx was about enough and to keep it going, so that's quite nice. So we can at least run out there. It may very well be that we run at extended range. Well, not extended range, but maybe normal range for the G4M1s. The issue is... I suppose this is it. It's always going to happen regarding AA, isn't it? Well, this is it. It's one of those. We'll deal with that. It's just not easy. One thing that does worry me is he may be using these bases out here to long-range cap. I don't think that'd be easy for him, considering that he is at a considerable distance. These bases, not so much. What we'll have to do then is take a look at where he is on the map and really see if he's sticking to like a specific pattern. Well, because if he's sticking to a specific pattern, it does seem to look like that. He's really hung around that area for a while. I don't think there's really a reason he hasn't seen any Japanese attempt to move via ship as of yet. So maybe this is what he's doing. Maybe he's going to go ahead and cap these with long-range caps. So I believe he could manage like 7 with certain aircraft. I'm sure the Allies have fighters at this point in time that can do at least 7. Well, do at 7 at a push. I might be wrong there. But it seems kind of odd that he's linking around this area. And we are losing subs there. That's been rather rough. Yes, he does have the 2-2 detection, I think because the wall's attacked, but there's no detection here. Okay. That's interesting. Something we'll have to check out then. Right, so he's attempted to move over here then. I do have forces moving across, slowly but surely, yeah, but at 25. There's a river crossing, of course. He is on secondary road there. But I have 25, we'll have 35 tomorrow, then 45, and then... So 3 days we'll attack here. He's only just begun to move, so we might be able to catch him. He's likely going to be forced to retreat. I don't think he would surrender unless we take control of this hex here, and then he can't trace supply. But if I take a look over here then, so we do have our divisions. Yeah, and their fatigue and disruption's looking fine, really. Now then, I do have a... Right, so that's 5th Division. Okay, so they'll arrive next turn. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and order a deliberate attack over here. We'll have a headquarters with them in that next turn, so that'll help them recover sooner rather than later. We do see his AFVs. It did look like these AFVs are actually moving out. It's such an impressive move that he's done there. I do find it rather amusing, because you're like, yeah, Burma's fallen, let's go ahead and reinforce that failure. But maybe he has other plans. But I do find it incredible regarding the H-81s, because those things are worth a lot, man. Fuck off. No way. No way. Fuck off. No way. Nah. No way. Nah, come on, no. How's that? That can't be right, can it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look at what we saw the day before then in terms of, like, numbers on the ground. But that seems obscene, really. I mean, if that's in any way accurate, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. It lists 8 being destroyed here, no flights. I'd have to take a look and see what's on the ground beforehand, but that's kind of crazy. I just... yeah. I mean, that's it. It showed 8 there. What I mean is I'll take a look at the turn beforehand to have a look and see what there is. Yeah, I mean, that's what I find crazy is just... I don't know. That's mental. That is like a huge loss of H81s. That is like, as said there, criminal. That is huge. Wow. So he's in total loss about 72 H81s we're seeing reported here. How many H81s is there to begin with? I think there's a little bit more than that, but I might be wrong, but that's a bloody big loss today. That is a bloody big loss. I mean, does he lose the pilots for that as well if underground? That's bloody crazy. Wow. Okay. And that's honestly quite shocking. Honestly, I did not expect that in the slightest there. Okay. Well, that's a nice way to start out, isn't it? That makes up for the actual sub over here. Ah, bloody hell. I mean, that goes a long way in helping us out in this area. Because that means that we can actually operate in a way that we've not been able to, well, really since the start of the game due to the fact that he had the H81s here. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Wow. It might be that he still has the H81s out here, because we still see 29 out this way. And we've finally arrived in this hex over here, and I'm not seeing anything in these hexes. I think I was running reconnaissance here, but I might have changed that. Wow. That's pretty mental, then. That's a pretty good turn, then. Right, so we're 13 miles into the march over here, then. So we're still about 3 days from being here, then. Well, about four or so days, then, really, give or take. 3-4 days, depending on how much progress they make each turn. But I mean, this is it. What we'll do now is obviously have a unit move down this way. But he's now cut off via roads. We don't see a unit in front of us. So he does have units moving to Hankow, we know that, but... we can get here. The question is going to be whether we can get here or not unopposed. If we can get there unopposed, then that's pretty much... psh, job's a good one, really, isn't it? Okay. Now, I do have armor moving down this way. So, 5th Tank Regiment. Right, okay, so we're going to have units moving across that road line. I would like to have something here, but I do not want to take a division away to slow us down. Well, to reduce the amount of AV that might be required to grind through here. It's likely not necessary. And it might very well be necessary to have a division here. Well, we do potentially have the ability to deploy additional divisions. But in fairness, I don't know if we need additional divisions, really. I mean, these are bloody strong divisions in of themselves, and there's a lot of artillery here supporting them. They're lacking armoured support, but in fairness, they do have armour within the actual divisions themselves, really. At least some of them do. Yeah, some tankettes in here. A couple more tankettes there. Yeah, so a little bit of armor, not much. And we do have these engineer regiments, which are really nice. I love the fact that they have half-tracks. You don't often see half-tracks in any Japanese force. I don't really see half-tracks in much outside, I'd wager, Americans. Maybe, no, I don't think the Soviets, no, the Soviets don't have half-tracks. And then we have this one with the Yaigo engineering tank. And they actually have a little bit of armor, which is quite nice. It's only about, I think, about 10 armor. But in fairness, if the Chinese lack AT, then they're actually going to be fairly effective and fairly survivable, really. Okay. Now... will you let them... oh, will you let them plan for the base behind the river? I'm not too sure, really. As far as it goes for preparation, you really do want to save that for the big battle, essentially. I'm not too sure if I will have that battle at Kianko. It may very well be at Kianko, but we'll have to see. Like, we'll obviously lose a lot of preparation points, but the thing is, I don't want to prep for Kianko and then the big battle not be at Kianko. It seems there's only 3 units over here at Chungking. We know there's a good number moving north. It's very likely to be at Kianko, but I'm not yet certain. Excuse me. Okay. Well, he didn't attack last turn, which is fantastic, as that allowed us to bring in another brigade over here, which is nice. Yeah, I'm prepping for Chungking. Well, this is it. Oh, that's good to know, then. Yeah, this is it, isn't it, Vulcan? You're like, well, if I prep for that, then I lose a potential bonus elsewhere if the actual major battle does take place elsewhere. It does take a while, but in fairness, we are making good progress. I mean, we're not too far from being in Chungking. Well, in this area. Also, the speed does pick up the pace there pretty quickly, then. We do have our division detachment in here now. What I'm going to do then is have them told to plan for Ankang. Well, in fairness, he hasn't put up much in the way of resistance, really. Deadman strategy in China has been perplexing at the very least, to say. Yeah, wow. Well, that's it, isn't it? It's like with that 66 core there. In all honesty, it should have been here rather than there. Not too sure about that. Right, so we do have our units over here at Fushao. The bloody amount of port damage is redonkulous, but hey, not much I can do about that now. I can't believe it got to that sort of level of damage after 1 day, but I guess it does make sense. Okay. We do have the 150, that's not too far from Amoy now. Are they on major? Yeah, they're on major there. Okay. So, we should be able to reform the 51st Division next turn, which is nice. Yeah. So with the 51st Division reformed, what I'll be using that for then. And the good news is that gives me a division I could potentially use out here at Hankow. But what we will do then is have the 51st Division. We could have it march. It might be simpler to march this way. Well, we had the units, we had a regiment that was acting as garrison. And they marched out about a day before the Naval Guard arrived. And yes, obviously due to then being no garrison, then they decided to kick the living hell out of the port there. Some say they're still stamping on the concrete now. I'll have to take a look at that. But no, the major danger has passed. Well, at least it has subsided to a degree. I do have this element moving south as well. He has concentrated a lot of AV there. I mean, that's a chunking amount of AV. There was a worry that he might have shocked attacked. Oh wow, that's that's really kind of cool, actually. It reminds me of, like, what do you call it? Is it a Solero? You guys might recognize Soleros. I think there's like a certain Solero where it's like sort of red, yellow, red, yellow. Red, yellow. What is it? Red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. There we go, that's an old tongue twister. Not said that one for a few years. Right, okay. He's got a few units over here, and he could probably push through that, no problem. He could cause damage in this area, but there's not all that much he can really do. Oh, they're in that hex. I can't say I remember which unit that was, actually. The good news is I do have a 15th AA regiment over here. So, I do own these hex sides, which is good. So what I need to do then is attack here. Where would he even retreat to? I don't know if he can actually trace supply. He may be able to through like a very worming method. Right, I do have a brigade being sent out this way. He's moving 2 units here, so that rail line is going to be cut in the near future. But in fairness, it's not too bad. I might bring a Manchukuo division to just deal with that and then head back into Manchukuo. But in fairness, there's not much you can do out there. Even if he cuts that rail line, then I can just make use of the rail line to the south. Now, I do have... Oh, I thought they would have arrived today. Looks like they'll arrive tomorrow. We do have the 37th Division, which will arrive tomorrow. What I might go ahead and do then is use the 37th Division to move over here, just to give us a little bit more oomph over here. Not the bombers as such. We do have a Jakes being set up in position. You can see that we do have them being set up now. It's not quite ready yet. It's probably going to be ready within like the next turn or two. But essentially, as you can see, we do have these Jakes positioned over here. The idea is going to be that we run convoys along this stretch over here under the quite stern vigilance of the ASW pilots and the Jakes. You can see obviously the vast majority here and the 60s close to 70 ASW skill. And so that's going to be how we run things. Essentially have it like, imagine like buoys in the ocean. You could essentially like move from one buoy to another buoy to another buoy sort of thing. A relay system essentially. Key 48s are not bad. The issue is we just need to make sure we go ahead and have bombers used where they need to be used, really. The Jake is sufficient, and it's probably better in a lot of ways due to the fact that, well, it doesn't have as large of a bomb, but it has 460 kilogram, and I believe the Key 48 has 4 100s or something like that, which is still, well, better arguably. But I think what does it for the Jake is the fact that it does have the float plane ability, which is quite nice. Let's see, where's Key 48? I can't remember what the surge rating of Key 48 is. 2 times 100 extended, right, okay. Yeah, so the Key 48 has one more normal range. It does have the full 100 kilograms, which, don't get me wrong, is not bad at all. But its surge rating 2 isn't float equipped. The reason why we're using the Jakes is, well, look at it this way. They're 1 less range than the Key 48s, but they're surge rating 1. They're float equipped, so we don't even need to have airfields to actually use them, which is quite nice. Plus, we have a lot of Jakes. Like, we're not using enough of aircraft because we have specifically developed the Jakes for this sort of task, really. Oh, here we go. You can see that we do have our light cruisers just behind them here. Yeah, you can imagine they're not going to be in for a good time here. Hey, Dynamexy, good to have you, my friend. Okay, yep. So we should intercept them and destroy them tomorrow. That's a pain in the ass, because I need 20 garrison. Ah, God, why did I take that base? I forgot there was a garrison requirement. So we've landed over here with the Yokosuka, 2nd SLF, and we have encountered no resistance. I don't know if I want to remain here. It's clear terrain. He may yet move forces out. I may decide to, in fact, pull out from that. We'll see. I just got home from work. Oh, that's awesome, dude. I do have APs that are not far away. I'm going to have a division shifted down here to Cotabato soon. I'm feeling well, It's getting close to afternoon now, so I'm actually waking up a little bit. Okay. We do have our division over here, not far. They're moving about 8 per turn, so they should actually arrive tomorrow, which is nice. It's a shame we can't go the river to Hanoi here. But the good news is we'll have our division ashore shortly. It does seem like just moving out by ship is a faster method then. I hope rails might have been quicker, but it takes quite a few days either way, really, doesn't it? Yeah, so they'll be railed up here. So we do have the 4th... I almost said the 14th Division, but we have the 4th Division over here. We have the 38th Division here then. So we'll have 2 divisions here, roughly similar sort of time frame. And then we can start pushing over here on southern China. We had a really nice result down here at Mandalay, so we can begin pushing over here through the mountains then afterwards. I do have 40th Division that has arrived in place here now. I'll have them sent to Hankow. But in fairness, I could have them sent out this way. It's ×2 road to Hankow, ×2 over here as well. Right, so we do have that element of the RGC there. I am moving units here to be able to account for that, and I could move a division back to make sure we cover that. And so I'm going to have that division march directly across there. It is ×2 road. Let's have a look. I could also have these Chinese units run out back to make sure we have this garrisoned. It's kind of annoying when they got a unit in behind here, but it's spent a long time marching that, in fairness. I just don't know how strong it is, that's the problem. So we do have our divisions here at Changsha. Put them into combat mode. Now, it's not that strongly held. It's probably going to have a few hundred AV, I'd imagine. It's only ×2. I do have the actual headquarters over here, the 11th Army, supporting them, which is nice. I would prefer to bring up additional forces to aid them. I don't have to attack at Changsha, but it's one of those of, well, if I take Changsha, that takes away a major industrial center for him. There's a lot of supply that he loses then after that. What I might do then is actually wait, clean this area up a little bit more, assemble the divisions over this way, and then begin marching. If we could actually march and take Nanning and then really time that well with like a Changsha, that'd be quite nice. He shifted his major reserves to the north over here, towards Kienko. So if we suddenly start to really put the vice on him down here in the south, and then obviously down here in the mountains, over here in the mountains. Oh, this is it. China can't be everywhere. It's strong, it has a lot of men, but those men can't be everywhere due to the terrain. The simple time it takes to get from one side of China to the other is really quite ludicrous at times. And we'll have another division out here. It might be that I have another... I might have that 51st Division from Amoy, possibly used to push up on this base network over here, actually. That might not be a bad thing to do, in all honesty. It's a little bit tough. If we could destroy these units, I'd be quite happy. We could do with more reconnaissance in China, really. That'd be ideal. Yeah, so we had the bombers set up, but it looks like the bombers will fly probably next turn, then it seems. Yeah, we'll go with that. We are going to be moving more air power into China, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I've been using these guys over here. I'm going to have them probably moved out. I'm going to retain some to go ahead and just reduce the airfield over here at Gagayan. That's annoying, but I'm going to lose VP there. Need to get a garrison in there. But look at that, 32,500 supplies. A lot of supply there. How much AV's in this? 6, so it's not enough really, but at least it's a start. So load the hell back up. And go again into that base. It's a little bit annoying really. Shouldn't have taken that base, I forgot it had a garrison requirement. Frankly. Oh well. Now, how much AV do I have here? That's 12 actually, so I'm going to have to get that APD into there. At least if I can get them both in there, then that's going to satisfy the garrison requirement. Kind of pain in the arse. So I do have my DDs over there. That's interesting to see if he has detection out here. So what worries him? He might be flying them out from Surabaya. You know, I do find it really strange, and I noticed this yesterday. Note how we can see enemy units 8 over here. I think what we're going to do then is continue to move to this hex, because it says there's enemy units in this hex, we just simply can't see them represented on the map for some reason. And that's obviously quite, it's quite dangerous, because I had, for a little while, thought that was actually empty, which most people would do, because obviously it's showing empty. But it seems that there's still units in here. So what we'll do then is we'll move to this hex as we were going to do so anyway. And go from there. Okay. I'll tell them to go into combat mode. let's take a look then. We do have the oil over here. I do need to repair that oil. The refineries don't need to be repaired, but in fairness, I mean, we've taken a lot of stuff intact. It would have been nice to have gotten that intact as well, but man, we've taken a lot of stuff intact. Alright, we do have forces begin to move up over here. We do have 16th Army here. Now, I want that base to fall before I attack this one. I don't want him to be able to actually retreat out this way. He could potentially trace supply down through this road. So what we're going to do then is wait until we get to a position like out this way before we attack there. 365 AV there. I think what I'm going to do then is have a regiment taken from here then. And have that marched. Let's see, we'll have it marched there. I don't think he's capable of a counter attack, frankly. He has 8 units, but I don't think it's a huge deal of AV there. I am somewhat conscious, though, about the regiments. We do have armoured regiments over here, but I do have a lot of actual power kept over here. There's a regiment there, 2 regiments there, regiment there. Yeah, Sasebo. So I could probably do with maybe a little bit in the way of additional forces, perhaps. We'll see about that. Obviously, once that garrison's dealt with, then we're good to go. I need to go ahead and grab some bombers for that. Okay, so I'm moving some fuel into Singapore here. Engineers moving down this way. Moving our regiments. It may very well be what we do here then is we take these regiments over here, essentially what forms the 30th Division, and we might potentially have that brought to Java. Essentially bringing the 30th Division, being able to reform the 30th Division in Java might be a way to go, because that gives us a division to work with. That, and I may very well have that division used, possibly. I believe we have enough force for Moresby, but it might be worthwhile to go in with a division essentially. I'm not too happy about the H6Ks being damaged there. It may very well be worthwhile transferring them out. And I think a lot of them are being damaged due to the fact that we don't have supply of the airfield. So, yeah, we'll have to fly the ones out that we can, frankly. We do have supply being moved in there shortly. We do have a little bit of fuel that's arrived over here, actually. Refuel that zone. What we'll do then is get the submarines from Raphael moved down here, I believe. It's difficult because, well, this is it, but look at it this way. As much as it is a pain in the arse at Talagi, you take a look at the fact that he's bombarded Talagi multiple times, which I've always said was going to happen, essentially. But he's only using light cruisers. It's strange, it's very, very strange. We've not seen any heavy cruisers. We did see, I think, a while ago, but I've not seen carriers for a while. It does strike me as very odd. I do hope that he's in the area here with his carriers, because then at least we can account for that. But it seems likely he might have headed elsewhere. Right, now to 10 detection over here at Moors. But yeah, that port damage just like goes, flicks up to flick down, really. Well. Just need to get the construction units moving south now. Just need to capture that base too. See, that's quite interesting. See, it does make me wonder, if we were to build up a series of size 1 ports over here, I mean, that one could have a port, it's very difficult, but I believe you could build a port. Then you could potentially have supply automatically transfer from Rabaul down these islands via the port supply mechanic. I don't know if that's worthwhile, though. Probably not, considering the amount of supply to build those ports would probably be more than it is to actually just ship it. Indeed. Okay. Again, we do have a naval guard here. They've got pretty high preparation for Moresby. I think what we need then is, obviously, to come up with the plan here to take Moresby. I think we can probably manage it. It would be nice to have some sort of cover. But in fairness, we do have a lot of cover. I mean, we do have the amount of bloody zeros over here. I mean, how many we're looking at? So it's 51 over there. There's another 21 there. And then I do have 28 total here. So we do have a lot of zeros in that area. We just need to actually get the things moving. It would be potentially nice to go ahead and have like an aviation unit moved over here to Boona. Or even potentially down over to Milne Bay. And the idea being that if I can cover them via ASW around this area would probably be alright. I don't think there's much he can do to us up there in the north. I don't think he's really, I don't know. The carrier seems to be elsewhere. As far as I can tell. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon the carriers are still down here? Because I don't know. I don't feel like they are. It just doesn't feel right. Heavy around San Francisco. Oh, Iceycrome has finished repairing, that's nice. I did have Zukaku go in for repair last turn, literally as I send the turn. But she's been finished. She had a little bit of major damage, so she's good to go. So we're pretty much good to go there with our invasion of Wake. Just need to organize it, but we'll organize it this turn, essentially. So we captured Mandalay, Green Island. Okay. Lost on Agara. On 20th of January was omitted. Those were some fun bloody days, weren't they? Loveland expands to size 4, which is excellent. Aiden expands to size 5, so it's definitely building those up. Right, so we do have Loveland built up, which is good. What we're going to do then is begin to build up these other air bases. So what I'll do then is... we have about 115 engineers, so we'll move about 100 engineers then to each base. That base might be a good place to start with. The reason being, it has the capacity to be a size 4 airfield. So it won't be unreasonably hard to build up. But honestly, it might be worthwhile building up another airbase. These are all size 3. Maybe we build up Delete, to be honest. That can be a size 6 airbase, so that'd be no problem. And, well, frankly, some of the islands are more, so we already have supply that can be moved. Yeah, maybe we go for Delete next. I'll have to think about that one. Or even potentially that one. It gives us then a... this is it. We'll just build this base cluster up. It's going to take a while to eventually build them all up, but it can and will be done. Okay. We do have our fuel moving south. It is spotted, so I imagine it's vectoring every bloody submarine in the area there. Let's see. I did have some heavy cruisers sent south. Yeah. So, they're on the way south. I can't wait until again get the auxiliary repairs out there. Just repair that damage on them. That'd be nice. Right, so it's going to take them 2 days. The armor might be able to carry it by themselves. They probably could. But I'd like to have the regiment there behind us just so we have something to actually back us then. I'm conscious of the fact that, well, we might not be facing many troops at Surabaya, but I don't want to move out with all of them and smash us, essentially. And reset our progress to some degree. I doubt that would happen, but, you know. I do have the 21st Independent Mixed Brigade being moved. I do have a Naval Guard unit in Singapore acting as a garrison. We are aware that there's a Allied force in these hexes. I think it's either in one of these hexes. It's likely in that hex, but it could be in that hex by now. But I'm going to have a Mixed Brigade moved up over here to Migui and Miguai, however you want to pronounce that. So when they do eventually get here, that oh, right, okay, hi, essentially. Still building another capacity over here at Singapore, sort of to 68,000 tons of capacity there. I do wonder if I might be hogging a little bit too much supply there. Gotta be a little bit careful about that one, frankly. Okay. do have an ACM on the way to Port Blair. It'll take a little while to get there, but we'll eventually get an ACM out here. Right, so they can be undocked and moved out. Yeah. But Port Blair's getting there. We're moving up to size 3 port, which is nice. A size 3 port being a protected port, so submarines can't come in there and just attack. I don't think he would do that, but it's nice to have it. So it means that we can actually unload more ships then in a protected environment at once, which is nice. Also, we can obviously rearm them to a superior degree. The rearm level of the port is 205. So we do have a little bit of naval support, which is nice. I might move a naval base out, well, a base force out here potentially, but probably not. But we can repair anything less than 205, and I forget how you work it out actually, but it is in the manual. I forget how you can work it out in game. I think there's a way to actually check and see what is required there. Alright, so I do have you here. Now, that's his hex. I could move the armored car company in here, and that would take control of this road, and I do not think he would be able to move along this way then, unless he fought and defeated us here, which might be the way to go. Oh, look at that. So, for fuck's sake. That's what I love about Chinese cores, is when you beat them up so much that sometimes they just remain in position. You have to, like, god damn it, just accept that you're dead. Annoying, annoying. Well, they're going to have to attack again then. What I will do, though, is, let's see. They're planning for Changsha. These fellows can march south to Nanchang. Likely I might have them split up. I might have them split up at this point over here, and then we can cover this area quite nicely. I do have to worry about the cores here. That's something we do have to bear in mind. But if I can get a unit over here then to actually reach Changsha and open that roadside up, I'll be quite happy there. There's only the... yeah, so the 3 units there. We're doing pretty well, actually. Doing pretty bloody well. I do have the 35th Division here. So they're marching. They'll be here tomorrow then. Then another 2 days they'll be here at this hex. In 4 days I will have the 40th Division here. 2 days after that. So 6 days I could have 2 more divisions there. Which is going to be quite a lot of force. So he is in a position where he does have a lot of men there. But I mean, I just can't imagine how his supply situation looks. It must be horrifically bad. You've got to look at this. There's no... We control Yichang, or Yichang. He does have road connections here and here, but then it's going to go across here. And that terrain is wooded rough, wooded rough, wooded rough, wooded rough. Or he can go clear swamp, wooded rough. I can't imagine it's really easy either way. So what it might be that we do is potentially just bombard and just try and get an idea of how strong he is. I can't imagine he has much in the way of supply there. Hey, Demed, just good to have you, my man. Indeed. Right, I do have a brigade march into the north over here. It's going to take them a while to get to that point, but they'll eventually move to that point there. Yep, you will. Okay. Oh, excellent, yes. I do have a little Chinese brigade there, so that's quite good. That can hold that point. I believe I do have 2 brigades moving to these positions here. We have 26 being loaded up on rails. Yeah, so 26 is on rails in about 2 days. So 3 days to begin marching out then. Moving out, I should say. I may potentially have a division from Manchukuo actually made available for dealing with these units in this area. But we'll see about that. It's going well. Over here at Langsha. Yep, we do have our armoured units moving over here. Okay. Right. We are flying in elements of this aviation battalion, so you can see that we do have some aviation support on hand now, which is really nice. It just keeps us really going. I mean, I might even just stop flying additional units, because I do have an aviation battalion moving up this way, but just need a little bit, just to keep them flying is enough, really. But I mean, look at that oil there. So you can see there's 12,000 units of oil there, 4,000 units of fuel. That's a lot of oil being produced there. Hell of a lot of oil. And the beautiful thing is that's going to be great for us. And it takes away from him, which is nice. But something I do have to point out is over here. So you see where we have supply. This number in the actual brackets is 60, as you are well aware. But what that means is essentially he would gain 60 supply every turn at this base. For no rhyme nor reason, he gains it. I don't know if we gain it. I don't think so. I imagine it's just an allied thing. But if you notice over here at Susana as well, 60 there. What that means is, with those two bases at LeAcHACiD and Susana, we've denied him about 120 supply a turn. And then obviously then add in the ability of the refineries to produce supply, the light industry to produce supply, heavy industry to produce supply. That's a lot of supply being denied to him, which is quite nice. Changsha is another city that has supply coming in every day, and obviously he does have a fair bit of supply being produced there. No, not had the turn yet. I did send the turn, but I've not had the turn yet. Hankow is another one as well. Yeah, so the good news is when we do actually move into this position where we do have the divisions here, we will be taking cities that do produce supply for him. And this is it. You look at over Kunming, and you can see that that's actually pretty bloody big. I mean, that's a lot of heavy industry there at Kunming. That's a lot of heavy industry. That's 101 heavy industry. That's a shitload, frankly. China's not going well for him. It's an odd one. I don't know how to explain it really, but his strategy perplexes me. And I think that might be the intention there. I mean, do I attack here? I could do, but I'm somewhat tempted to potentially pull back. I could do again some supply over here to Jolo, actually. I may have those G4 ones moved over here to Tay, perhaps. If there's a little bit more in the way of supply. Or I could even have them moved out here to Naga. Naga might be the better way to go, considering that there's no lack of supply in that area. I do have my base forces moving south as well, the engineers moving south here. Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it there, Mexi. Oh, it's only a secondary south. Ah, it's going to take longer. Right, let's see. 274 AV there. I do have the garrison battalion on the way. Right, so that's the Kure 3rd SLF, which is moving out to here to Amoy. I do have the 11th garrison, which is moving to Manila. So they move 6 per turn. They've got 31 to go then. So they've got a few turns of travel time, but that's not too bad. But what I can do then is actually have the 65th Brigade released from its service here. And the 65th Brigade, I would very much like to rebuild it completely one day. There's a lot of disabled there to recover. But as far as it goes, that's it to recover there. It's only the actual disabled men. The equipment is there, it's just the actual disabled to recover. So what we'll have to look for then is bring them in the biggest space possible with as much support and supply as possible, and then they'll eventually recover in pretty quick order. So let's see, so 87 there plus 129 is 216. So I think it has all the men yeah, it has all its squads, it just needs to recover them. That's the only problem there. That's okay, man. Yeah, so supplies move from Batangas. Yeah, pulling up in that area. The good news is we have Manila, which is great. And we didn't capture Manila entirely intact, but we still captured the 75 light industry there. So that's still 75 supply a turn, which is nice. It's not a huge amount, but it does go a long way in actually just helping out to keep the garrisons here. I mean, frankly, we're not going to have a very large garrison Luzon forever. We'll probably have to make periodic supply shipments to Luzon, because we do have a lot of work being done here in terms of construction. Like, Clark is growing to size 6 fortification here. That takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of engineers. Like, look at that, we have 435 engineers, 26 engineering vehicles here. And each engineering vehicle is worth 5 squads. That's a lot of construction there. But it will be worthwhile because Clark is a pretty massively important base. The thing is, if you took Clark and Luzon with size 8 airbase there, I think he would be pretty much able to fly B-29s. And he could obviously threaten, he could definitely threaten Kyushu. But yeah, it's not good. He could threaten us in a lot of places there, so frankly can't allow that. Okay. Oh, fair, it's looking pretty good. I do have... Is it underway? Yes, it is. I am moving an aviation battalion over here to Iceycrome. What I'm going to do is actually move some Dinas over here to Iceycrome, and you can see that Wake Island is about 14 hexes, which is the very limit of their range. But if I take a look at these guys... Not them. These guys over here. They do have a maximum range of 14. So, what we suffered with in the past with Wake Island is just having poor reconnaissance, because that's really just... We just didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. But what I'm going to do then is get that positioned there, get some Dinas positioned here at Iceycrome, and then at least we'll have good detection over Wake Island. Ideally, we'll be able to get to like 10 out of 10 detection on Wake Island, which will mean that our bombardments will be significantly more effective. It also means that we actually know what we're going to be going up against. I do have a regiment that is in the area now that can be used, which is that track. But it may very well be that we have the 30th Division possibly made use of to invade Wake. I'm not too sure yet. Yeah, that's going to be the idea there. What we'll do then is have the E13A1 Jake set up at Tangi and just set up in an area. We might even use the AVs. See, the good thing about the AVs is they can actually run, well, they can have aircraft utilized while underway. I think it's these ones. I can't recall which ones it is, but it's... I think it's those ones. I think it's the Kamikawa class. Yeah, I believe they can run them underway. So what we'd be essentially doing then is probably change out the pilots in here. So you can imagine if we had like really good high-level skill ASW pilots, and then they're essentially moving out in this area, essentially acting as like mobile bases for ASW, that'd be quite good. And we don't need to attack them per se, but if we can just consistently detect them and render them useless, really. I mean, take a look at this. I mean, you see the submarines in these areas. They haven't really been much of a threat, have they? Especially this guy around here. We're just known about them. And eventually we just get on top of them and start bloody death charging them into hell. And I do have supply moving there to Tlagi. And it is worrying because, frankly, see you later, Parmentier. I'm probably going to be closing this stream shortly, actually. But yeah, you can see that it's causing us problems at Tlagi. I can repair the aircraft at Tlagi, so we do have a crap load of aviation support. I just need to have the supply to do it. But yeah, this cluster is going to be the one that we have to build up next. It's going to be difficult, and we're going to have to go about it in a very particular way, I'd imagine. But we'll manage it. Yeah. Right. They're looking pretty good. I do find it hard to believe that we got the 18 HH1s there, but... okay. I mean, frankly, okay. Crazy things have happened. Right, I may attack the units over here. The thing is, I don't want to really beat up the TIE forces unnecessarily, so... They are great, I do like the TIE forces. They've been really instrumental in this campaign here. We do have our forces marching north, and so 5th Division's marching towards Magway. We'll attack Magway when we do have overwhelming amount of force here. I could do, we get an aviation battalion up over this way as well. So we might have that flown in, frankly. I do have a couple kois over here at Chiang Mai that could be flown in immediately. There's a aviation koi here. I think there's another aviation koi on its way. But I'll get them flown in. Oh, there's one koi there. Right, okay. Maybe I have that sent instead, but it's already moving, so it's alright. Right, so I'm moving a base force over here then to Rangoon as well to increase the amount of aviation support we have. Yeah. That's pretty good. It's going to be intriguing regarding this. I do have an RF gun battalion, I think, crossing over as well. Yeah, there we go. So then about 2 days or so from crossing over here. Just increase the amount of anti-tank guns we have would be ideal. We do have anti-tank guns in here, which is nice. We don't have a huge amount, though, so having more would be very nice. I do have a number of RF gun battalions moving out of China in the near future. Yes, we have 3 RF gun battalions over here. And what I'll do then is essentially have them deployed to any theatre where we do encounter enemy armor, really. There we are. Okay. That's looking pretty good, then. We'll soon be able to reform the 51st Division there. We'll soon have 2 divisions here, soon have the 2 divisions pushing here. We'll land on Mindanao shortly. And once we clean up Mindanao, then there's no worries about our area here, really. So Mindanao's right in the centre of things now, isn't it? So if we can remove that, that removes a potential base for him to use for spine operations. We're going to be pushing out onto Wake Island shortly. Moresby will be done shortly as well. Go ahead and take a look at our R&D. Have we had any successes today? Yes! We got a roofie. Nice. So I was hoping that we might have got a second roofie today, but that's fine. I'll still take that roofie. So what I'm going to go ahead and do even is actually advance that roofie. Save it beforehand. So I don't bugger it up. And then we'll be good to go. So that'll mean that we'll have 3 percentage points gained towards the A6M8 each turn. Now, the A6M8 is going to take a while to arrive, but it should arrive by the end of 42, maybe early 43 we might have it. We expected it a little bit sooner, but hey, it is what it is, really. So, there we go. Whoops. So, A6M5. A6M5B, I believe it is. A6M5C. Then I think I can go to the A6M8. Did I click the wrong one there? I might have clicked the wrong one there. What did I click? I wanted to click the A6M8, but I think I might have clicked another one. Ah, shit. Did I? What did I click? I didn't click the right one, did I? What bloody hell did I click? I don't know what I clicked there, but I'm going to go ahead and reload that save. Bloody hell, I don't know what I clicked there. And that's why you make the saves. I can double check and see how they upgrade. I thought it was the A6M5, A6M5B to C. I might have missed one. Let's see. Right, so we have A6M N. Where's the A6M N? Oh, right, yes, float fighter, sorry. Right, so the roofie upgrades to the A6M5. A6M5 to A6M5B. A6M5B to A6M5C, A6M5C to A6M8. I think I got it. I'll double check. That's the Okayama. A6M50. Let's say A6M5, A6M5B, A6M5C, A6M8. Yeah, okay, I don't know what I clicked last time, but we got the facilities there. So we do have that. Yeah, so we have 3 now, so that's going to gain us 3% each turn, which is good. Ideally, we'll have another one tomorrow, which will be 4 points per turn. These the ones are not far off, so we're going to have that going in full swing soon enough. Did we gain any of those? Helen's making progress, which is nice. Key 84 is making good progress. Not bad on the George. 2 there. So it's a shame on the zeros. Right, let's see. We'll count how many 83s we have then at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 at 4 now, which is good. We have 1, 2, 3 at 3. So 5 at 4, 3 at 3. The rest are at 2, and then there's obviously quite a number at 1, which has been annoying. But we're making progress. You can imagine once we actually do get the R&D percentage points ticking away towards the key 83, we'll be looking pretty good there. Okay. Shipyard points at 3, yeah, so obviously we are producing things. We're not going to stockpile. I could probably do with having a stockpile. I should have kept that stockpile up there. But once we do have certain ships, aka the Yamato class constructed, then we'll have quite a I'd imagine we'll have quite a lot of surplus naval shipyard points to a degree. Or at least we'll be able to use them in a superior way. Okay. Looking good today. Let's see, how many half-35s do we have in stockpile? So we have 12 in the pool right now. I mean, this is it. We need to... Well, we are increasing the amount of half-35s we produce. We're not too far from being in the position we want to be at, really. And I do have this group of key 43s I need to have deployed somewhere. I think we'll have them deployed out to Palembang. What we want to do here, then, is... Oh, actually, a good thing is... Let's see. Oh, sorry, no, but I Lobland. Yes, there we go. So, this was a group that we transferred from the Shortland yesterday. There was only 3 of them in that group yesterday. The awesome thing about this group is I can have it subdivided, which is nice. So I can have, like, groups of 3 with, like, a reserve. No problemo. Quite nice there. There's always some spam, isn't there? It's no fun. Oh, wow, there's 2 of them. That's annoying. Right, so over here at Cocos, I do have heavy clouds. At Lobland, we have heavy cloud as well. I might wait until we have clear skies, perhaps. 23 bombers there. I'm going to have those Dinas shifted out. I might have all the Dinas shifted out, but I think I'll have a number of the Dinas shifted out. Let's see how the patrols actually looking in terms of fatigue. We need more pilots, of course. So, fatigue is really quite low. Some of them have a little bit of fatigue, but the majority are actually really, really good to go. Okay. I might give them another turn to rest. Ideally, hope that the weather improves. What's the forecast tomorrow? Forecast is partly cloudy. Forecast tomorrow is partly cloudy here at Lobland as well. So, yeah, we'll move out tomorrow and give them another chance to recover. And the good news is, well, those are General Defense H6K4, so I can only have them deployed at General Defense H6K4 bases. I might set up another General Defense base elsewhere to make use of them. But frankly, well, we do need to take Christmas Island, so I might have that as another search base there, really. It would be nice to have something like Diego Garcia as a search base, frankly. Wouldn't have been nice, but oh well. I might go ahead and actually make Port Blair General Defense, really. I'd have to change a unit there, and it cost me 60 points to do so. But in fairness, that's not bad. That's not very expensive, and you can imagine, obviously, having H6K4s patrolling out here in Bay of Bengal would be nice. I do think we are going to have to pull back the subs to a degree here. That's quite disturbing there. We will reinforce these zeros in a while, actually. We do have 17 zeros in the pool now, so we might go ahead and potentially consider reinforcing them. We've had priority given to zeros out in this area of the Pacific, frankly. And we may continue to do so. It would be nice to feel like this area could actually look after itself permanently. Well, near enough permanently. Without any problems. But now we'll go ahead and call it there, so thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next turn to come. But the good news is we have... well, we didn't have a battle at north of Hankow, which was nice. We're looking pretty secure in central China. In northern China, we are encroaching ever ever closer upon the Chungking Basin. I mean, this is it. So we're on the 26th of February. I think by the nearly by the end of February. I reckon by the 30th of February, or near enough by the end of February, we'll be essentially like a couple days out. I think we'll be, yeah, 30th of February, I think we'll be just on the doorstep. Give or take. Another 4 days or so, then probably outside Hankow. 3 days, 29th. Yeah, I think roundabout by the end of February, beginning of March, we'll be on the doorstep of Hankow. And, yeah. We've got 13. If we make... Well, this is it. Yeah, very soon. I mean, well, this is it. They've got 13. They've got 36... Sorry, there's 46 miles per hex. They've done 13 already. It's frankly not far for them to go, is there? I think it's about 3 days or so. Yeah. I mean, this is it. So if we did 33 divided by 3, they only need to march 11 miles per turn, and I think they should do that in movement mode especially. So I think 3 more days. I think the 29th will be here. And then I think about the beginning of March will be here if there's no enemy units. But I don't think there's much you can do because I don't see units here. He would have to have units here now, but we're going to arrive here soon anyway. I do have these armoured units, and I think I might have the armoured units move down here to cover this hex. That hex would be great. Just cover these hexes, really. Armoured units are quite good because they move quite quickly. A division would be best, of course, just to make sure we hold this down. But what we might do then is, once we deal with these guys over here, is have a division detachment sent to each of these hexes, essentially. Yeah, what we're trying to do then is force these units to retreat over to this cleared terrain so I can go ahead and whack them. But I mean, this is it. That's 11 Chinese cores. Well, not 11 Chinese cores, but it was what, was it 6, 7, 8 Chinese cores? It was something around that sort of region there. That are essentially down to like 130 odd or something AV. That's crazy. They're essentially broken. But this is it. Once they're off the rail line, I can safely make use of this over here, which is nice. It helps to improve our supply situation, but his is going to continue to deteriorate. I can't imagine these troops over here in the north are going to be doing well. Yeah, closing in now on the north. Yep, not that far away. But in all honesty, I'll probably have these troops carry on. I think I'll have one of the units move over here. But that doesn't even require a garrison, so we're fine there. So I might even just have them carry on. Well, actually, yeah, the only place that requires a garrison is Langchao itself. And Urumqi. I think Sining requires a garrison, yeah. Sining requires a garrison. But we're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. Have a great day. See you later.